My favorite part of this discussion, the Gender Equality Conventions. And like I said in my introduction, the International Labour Organization promote gender equality through their labor standards. And International Labour Organization is one of the oldest UN agency in this system. It was established in 1919. It's a specialized agency, deals strictly with labor and employment. Discrimination in employment, discrimination in labor, they deal with it. And we have with us Ms. LeBlanc here. She's very proactive. Good afternoon. In nude. And the ILO has ratified a convention on domestic workers. So domestic workers will have a lot of rights now. So if you employ a domestic worker, you have to pay NIS for her. You have to give her maternity leave if she's in childbearing age. You have to give her annual leave. You have to treat her like any other worker employed in any other agency. And Trinidad has not ratified that convention as yet. Have they?
No.
Guyana ratified it. Guyana ratified it. A couple of countries ratified it, but they're yet to enforce it. So I guess Ms. LeBlanc will get a chance to tell you a little bit more about that, but I just thought I should let you know that that's one of ILO conventions. When we're talking about promoting gender equality, that's one of the conventions that we will ensure that there is gender equality. So you can be a male domestic worker, you're entitled to the same rights. You can be a female domestic worker, you're entitled to the same rights. Okay, so the ILO Convention number 156, it specifically deals with equal opportunities and equal treatment for men and women workers, workers with family responsibilities. This convention was passed in 1981 and it came out of the ILO usually have an international conference every year where people from all over the world attend and present the instrument to ratify conventions and different things. And this convention, there is a recommendation that goes with it, recommendation 165, and it says, the recommendations in essence saying that, that agencies, governments must create and develop policies, laws that would benefit workers with family responsibilities. And I would like to say that this convention was ratified by over 100 countries, and only one Caribbean country has ratified it. Can you tell me what country that is? Or you want to make a guess? Guyana? No. No. Belize. Trinidad didn't. Well, I said Belize is the only one, so you know right away that the others did not. And that is something, there's where we need to be more proactive as women's activists, NGOs, and so on, to ensure that they did not ratify it. I was horrified when I found that out, that only one country, and Belize has a national gender policy, and Jamaica has a national gender policy, BVI. It's a concern for the BVI. Or the UK ratified it, so all the dependent territories automatically falls under UK. Whatever they ratify, they're supposed to be implementing and reinforcing. I think the gender policy that Pat and I and our team developed, that should be coming out soon. Some law or something should come out in terms of, because many people lost their jobs in the BVI because they put family first. And their jobs, pardon?
I say here too.
Okay, Trinidad too, yeah. I guess Guyana too. Because their job, their places of work don't have any policy to support them with their work and family responsibility. So if that person's child is sick, I'm not going to stay at work and my child home sick. I'm sorry. So those are the kinds of, so this is a very, very, very important convention. And I would encourage you to go on the online www.ilo.org, and you'll see all the conventions. You'll see all the countries that ratified the conventions. Convention 101/03, which deals with maternity leave, and one deals with equal employment. All countries ratified those, but why haven't they ratified ILO Convention number 156? Once a member state ratifies ILO conventions or any other convention, they're obliged or obligated to develop, to revise and review their laws, legislation, review and develop new policies that would benefit workers with family responsibilities. And I know that some agencies in Trinidad, I understand Ministry of Legal Affairs, they have a child care, aftercare service where children who finish school before their parents finish working can attend this center and wait while they're waiting on their parents. And I think that's excellent, and I wish that more agencies would do it, but that was at the discretion of the minister, the permanent secretary. So the ILO Convention 156, which I just told you I love so much, it has 11 articles, and you will see all the articles talking about women should have flexi time, they should be able to balance their work. When you get a chance, you can check it, as well as the recommendations. Labor employment legislations. Some Caribbean countries have provisions for maternity and paternity leave. Paternity leave, the Commonwealth of Bahamas, they have paternity leave, I think 14 days with pay. Cayman Islands, the Commonwealth of Dominica. But the Cayman Islands and Commonwealth of Dominica, only men who work in the public sector would be entitled to paternity leave. And the British Virgin Islands, once my home place of work and home, they have revised their labor code, and they've included 1 month's unpaid maternity leave. This, in my opinion, and I'm sure you will agree, this is discriminatory. How could a father be away from his job to support his wife and not get a salary? For me, that is increased economic burden. And if I may say that when this labor code was being debated in the House of Assembly, if you hear the men in the House of Assembly, they're carrying on, but unpaid leave, but maternity leave. Some agree that it shouldn't be unpaid, some agree that it should be paid. And I have to tell you, I want to give you a quick insight of this labor code. The private sector used to fire women when they found that they're pregnant. And there was a case that was brought to my attention where this woman had the interview, passed the test, meet all the criteria. And when they found out she was pregnant, they called her and told her they couldn't offer her the job anymore. And I was calling the ministry, the labor department, and they were telling me, referring them to see the convention. They were telling me they don't know about that and this, and they're going to be revising the labor code soon, and I could make my representation then and anyhow, she didn't get a job. And she'd already invested a lot of money because she was living there for a long time, bought a new vehicle. She began to make preparation for the birth of her baby, and she didn't get a job. However, later that same year, they had a consultation to revise the labor code. And the consultant was from right here, a legal professor, Paragas, I think is his name. I had a meeting with him. And I told him that I would like the labor code to have no woman must be discriminated because of her sex and reproductive health. And I point out the CEDAW Convention to him. And you must not be asked to do a HIV test before you're being employed. And that is in the labor code. I was very happy that he was able to put it in. So women in the BVI can apply for a job without being subjected to a pregnancy test or a HIV test, because as I was telling them, that is that's a violation of discrimination against a woman's sexual and reproductive health. So that's there, but what I don't know is if it's being enforced. Because the private sector in the BVI is a law unto themselves. So I just say that to let you know that is in the labor code. And these are things that all countries, I think, should do, because they discriminate against women based on the sex and reproductive rights. This was just a quick preview I wanted to give you on the labor force. United Nations report on the world's women. When you get an opportunity, you can read it. They publish it every 10 years. And they state that women participation in labor force in the Caribbean accounts for only 48%. And the rate for men is higher, and that's always been so. Every statistics you check with relation to women and men, you will see more women, more men in the labor force. The wage gap is wider, and all those things can cause you to not be satisfied with your job. But you would be less productive because the wage gap is wider. You have more men, and which indicates that more women are unemployed as well. Statistics have shown that more women are unemployed. So therefore we have more women at home performing unpaid care work. Or if they're self-employed, they still have to find a way to balance work, because being self-employed is still work. Balance work and family. The report also said that some data suggests that women are entering the labor force in increasing numbers, but still the gap is wide. You still have more men in the labor force. Okay, I'm going to wrap up now. And I took the liberty to present some recommendations. And I'm being bold to suggest, well, I heard Professor Mohammed say that there's an area that the Institute would like to get into, that the IGDS should conduct a survey on family reconciliation in collaboration with multi-agencies in Trinidad. And I've been ambitious to mention Belize and Jamaica, but that's just hypothetical recommendation. That the multi-agency public education awareness campaign be carried out on gender equality, that workers and employees organizations lobby and advocate for family-friendly work policies. Workers' organizations, we need to be more proactive. We need to police the government, make sure that they introduce the conventions, make sure that they introduce and they ratify the domestic workers convention. If not, we would not have a balance, a gender equality balance that we're trying to achieve. I will conclude by saying that women and men juggling the reconciliation of work and family life is here to stay, as employment is essential for the well-being and increases economic resources to the family. It prevents social exclusion. In order for dual career couples and single parents to fully enjoy and strike a balance, they also need the support of the state, which is our governments across the region. The church, we must not leave out the church, because in Guyana, I don't know if you all have it here, there's what do they call it? Mothers Union. And in Guyana, the Mothers Union, they have daycare centers. I also should have mentioned to you that in Guyana, there are creches that are being run by the municipality, which is an arm of the government that's responsible for the city. In my days, it was a relish to take a children to the creche, but the now generation, I don't know how much they use the creche. And where the creche is located, there is a health center, so the children also get health care and so on. So those are some of the things that we need to help to buy. Women NGOs, national policies, family-friendly workplace policies. Here is where workers' organizations come in, employers' organizations come in, that we must make sure that they, even if they didn't sign on to the convention 156, they must have some family-friendly workplace policies to help, because they want their work to be done. They want productivity. But if workers with family responsibilities do not get the support from the state, from workers' organizations, from employers, from the family, from the church, they cannot balance work and family life. Thank you, and see you again soon.